Stephen, we're going to preview your own county here, so we're looking for as little bias as possible. But as I know myself from previewing Tipperary, that can be hard to do. But just so far, the form guide basically, Cavan have beaten Monaghan after extra time. That was sensational stuff, and that late winner from the goalkeeper Raymond Galligan. Then they saw off Antrim 13 points to 9, whereas your own Down saw off Fermanagh eventually 115 to 11 points. How we'll start off with your own county. Are you impressed with how Down have gone about their business with Paddy Tally?
Well, I'm not shocked that we're in the semi-final. I expected to be here, Shane, but I'm shocked that we're playing Cavan. I thought we would have been playing Monaghan, and I thought that would have been a nice subplot to the game. Conor Lavery along the line with Monaghan, going up against his Kilcoo teammates, Paul Devlin and the likes of that, and I know Lav by trade, and I would say he would have done a few stories under his sleeve for those boys if that had happened. But it's Cavan, and it's going to be a serious challenge. It's going to be a serious physical challenge first and foremost. It's a Cavan team who have got serious strength and serious size, and they showed against Monaghan. Although Antrim dealt with it quite well, but then Antrim are a big and strong team around the middle of the field as well. Mick McCann that did a couple of big athletic guys as well in the middle of the field, but Cavan showed against Monaghan that they have physique, they have power, they have the ability to win their own kickouts, they have the ability to disrupt the opposition's kickouts. My only concern with the Down team getting into the Fermanagh game was we hadn't played competitively, Shane, in 7 months. There was a little bit of cautiousness about a performance in the first half. I called it out in the show last week. I felt that we had the pace, I felt we had the youth, I felt we had the energy, and we seen that in the second half. Starting the way we started on Sunday against Cavan probably won't be good enough. I think we need to start the game on the front foot. I think we need to give Cavan something to think about. I think we need to go at them. I think we need a break. If we're going to play defensively like we did play, well, Paddy's teams traditionally play like that all the time anyway. But if we're going to play with the deep line defence and the 13 to 14 back, we need to be breaking, Shane, and we need to be breaking in numbers, and we need to be breaking with width, and we need to be breaking with pace, but we also need to have an end product. And far too many times against Fermanagh in the first half, we were turned over in key areas. We did get the numbers forward, we did break forward, but it was that final pass in the final third. And very unlike certain players, Paul Devlin had a bit of an off day. Donald O'Hare spilled a couple of balls. Barry had a really good day. Barry O'Hagan kicked some brilliant scores. On another day, though, those scores, there were some seriously good kick points from Barry. On another day, they might not go over for him. So we just need to be careful that when we do get those chances on Sunday, Shane, in the final third, that we do capitalise and maximise on them. We're getting into the game as underdogs. Cavan have been playing a higher level of football than Down over the last couple of years. Cavan got an Ulster final last year. This is a very young downside. The likes of Pierce Laverty playing corner back, Daniel Guinness. For those lads to play their first, real Ulster Championship game and to get that under their that game under their belt and the experience that gives them, it just gives them great confidence, Shane, moving forward. And I just think on Sunday we've got a big chance. I think we've got a big chance. We'll not fear Cavan, certainly not fear them. We've got the mobility and we've got the pace to cause them problems, but my only concern, as I said to you, is probably that physicality in the middle third on kickouts.
Obviously the biggest player that you have to worry about when it comes to Cavan is going to be Grode McKiernan. Do you see Kevin McKernan going on him, or do you think McKernan will be more sweeping back?
No. I think Kevin's more suited to the sweeper role. I think Kevin will drop off at 6 again. They may put someone like a Pierce Laverty on him, or it's hard to know who they'll put on him. It's hard to know who they put on him because we don't really have that sort of standout individual. And I suppose maybe looking at it, Shane, it may be just a situation where, and it wouldn't surprise me if Down concede the kick out on Sunday. It wouldn't surprise me if they concede the Cavan kick out. Paddy's done that in the past before. He's conceded kick outs in National League games quite regularly to different teams. And he's decided that, look, we're not going to win it in the middle of the field, so what we'll do is we'll let you have it, we'll drop off, we'll get organised, and we'll turn you over in our own half. And it has worked for them in the past. But the problem you have then, Shane, is, and it's just a slight problem, the problem you have then is that if you're conceding the opposition's kickouts, you're giving them a foothold in the game. But also as well, if you're going to concede the opposition's kickouts and your own kickouts, they're going to press yours, and your own is going to become a 50-50 situation, it becomes very, very difficult to win bigger games. And I thought on Sunday we were fortunate at times that Fermanagh didn't really possess the offensive threat that Cavan will possess on Sunday. And as you say, Cavan have got some really, really good footballers, but they've also got threats from other areas of the field as well. And for me on Sunday, if Down are to win, they're going to have to be very, very they're going to be very, very well organised. They're going to have to bring a serious level of defensive intensity to that final third, because on Sunday, on all too many occasions, particularly in the first half, Fermanagh get in too easy. And if they give Cavan, they afford Cavan that type of space on Sunday, we could be in trouble.
Cavan's kick-out strategy last year against Donegal was they pressed and they got exposed, whereas this year against Monaghan they sat back and gave it to Rory Beggan an awful lot. What do you see happening there?
I think they'd be mad not to press Down's kick-out. Down have an issue in kick-outs, and it's well documented, and it's not a secret. Everyone knows it. We don't really have a kick-out strategy as such, Shane, and it's frustrating. But the argument can be made. We don't really have the physicality to maybe win it. Like, we've got Conor Poland out there, we've got Johnny Flynn, and they're big enough lads, but they're not the biggest lads about. And Conor Poland may pick up McKiernan at the weekend. Who knows? But Connor's maybe still only 6 footish, 6'1"ish, so strong lad, physical lad, but maybe just doesn't have the same. But then who does have the same height and physicality as Garide? But I think what you'll find, Shane, on Sunday is that Cavan will go after Down's kickouts. They'll go after them, and they'll go after them hard. They'll probably know what to expect. They'll probably have looked at the Fermanagh game as well. I thought Fermanagh had a brave bit of joy on Down's kickouts at different occasions when they did press them. But the problem Fermanagh had as well then was that they were winning kickouts, they were turning kickouts over, but then they were turning the ball over. And that's a crime, because if you can win an opposition's kickout and keep a hold of it and get a score off it, it's nearly worth 2 scores, when you turn an opposition's kickout over. So I can only see Cavan going one way, and that is going after Down's kickouts, because it's not, it's hardly a secret that Down don't have, a massive amount of height and size around the middle. So it would be mad to concede the kick out.
So when I was thinking back on the Cavan against Monaghan game, Monaghan got an awful lot of joy with their hard running and going straight up the centre. And one of the things that let them down was, of course, fisting over for the sensible option of the point, which I've always hated anyway, and I think the fisted point should be banned. But that aside, do Down have the running power, Quaylon Mooney aside, to be able to go straight up the centre and punish them that way? And we obviously have the likes of the Johnson brothers, Donny O'Hare, those type of players. If you go at Cavan, isn't that where the joy is going to be for Down, and then you have the scores to put them away?
Well, it wasn't just Monaghan. Antrim showed as well, Shane, that if you run at Cavan, you can cause them problems. And Antrim created those chances. And like I said to you probably last week about what Down have, and I was chatting to McKiernan during the week there about it as well, like with Cavan. And what Down have is they've got blistering pace. Like, it's one of the quickest downsides I have seen in the last 10 years. Pierce Laverty's playing cornerback, but he's playing on the front foot. Pierce comes from a small club in Down and Saul. Pierce went to the Aussie Rule Trials with Marty Clark in Dublin. He was very, very close to getting signed up by a professional club in Australia. He's a fine specimen of an athlete. He's got a serious athleticism, a top footballer. Probably isn't well known in the Down club circuit because he plays at a little bit lower level football. But his club won the Intermediate Championship this year, Saul. They're up in the senior next year. They're a small rural club just outside Downpatrick. He's burst onto the scene this year. You have young Peter Fagan from Burn, serious energy, serious legs. You have Daniel Guinness, who for me is probably the best attacking halfback in the county right now. Daniel comes from the Kerry Duff Club. You have a lot of new, probably unknown young lads coming through, Shane, who the opposition teams wouldn't be that familiar with because they're expecting the team to be flooded with maybe Mayo Bridge or Kilcoo men, and all of a sudden you have these lads from Saul and Kerry Duff and the likes of that. And for me, it's a great freshness about the Down team, and obviously you throw in Mooney. My only qualm about Keelan is, and I don't make sense. Like, Keelan is a fantastic athlete, a brilliant footballer. I would love to see him produce a more consistent performance throughout the course of the 70 minutes. But then the flip side of that is that if he is only sporadic and he is coming to life, now and again, he's got that blistering pace. Like when he took off for the goal, it was actually Daniel Guinness that put it on a plate for Donal O'Hare. And Daniel Guinness was right alongside Mooney, had broke forward from left half back. And listen, I watched Daniel in the club championship this year. He caused me a bit of heartache as well in the quarterfinal of the championship this year. But he has got serious athleticism, but serious strength. These lads are all now, Shane, and it's something that Down teams haven't had in a long time. They've got a real gym culture behind them. They've got a real, and a lot of young lads, I think now in general, just have this. They like being in the gym. They like having nice muscles. They like being in great shape. And this has helped and aided us as well, because these lads are coming in now in fantastic condition. And then the bench. You've Ryan Johnson coming off the bench, who is at this stage Ryan was with me under 21s, gone back 10 years. Ryan must be close to 30 now. He must be 28, 29. Ryan's got a lot of experience under his belt. Ryan's coming into the game late and he's still got the athleticism, he's still got the legs. Corey Quinn from Mayo Bridge is coming off the bench when opposition teams are tired. A really, really small, elusive corner forward along with Liam Kerr as well. So we've got some really, really bloody good players, some real great talent. But the key thing is, Shane, staying in the game long enough that these lads coming off the bench have enough impact.
And do you think that the fifth game in as many weeks for Cavan will catch up with them? Will it be a benefit? Whereas Down, they only played one league game and then 2 weeks break between the Louth and Fermanagh games, so they should be fresher.
Yeah, listen, you could punch that argument. You could say that they're going to be fresher. Cavan. The only thing about Cavan is they've got a bit of momentum behind them. After the disappointment of relegation, to beat Monaghan and Clonus was huge, and then to follow that up, obviously with a win against Antrim. And it was a game obviously that probably maybe caused them more problems than what they expected. But then they've had the extra day. That game was played on Saturday, Shane, so they'll have the extra day's recovery, which again can be a massive help for a team, particularly in how they plot out the rest of the week and how they're going to prepare for the game.
So if you're going to call it, what way is it going to go?
Red and black.
Yeah?
No question.
What's the defining reason why? Mickey Graham is like, he's had a couple of years there of good game plans, big shock against Kilmacud Crokes and Mullinachta. He's looking to get to a second Ulster final in a row.
Yeah, listen, there's no question about it. I'm not dismissing Cavan. I'm not dismissing them in any capacity at all. Maybe I'm letting the heart round the head. But no, I just have a funny feeling that it's a great opportunity for this Down team to reach an Ulster final, Shane. They've got promotion sealed a lot of weeks ago. They didn't have to worry about anything at the end of the league. It was more or less done and dusted. They've had 4 or 5 weeks good preparation now coming into this game. They had a couple of early COVID cases. Corey Quinn's brother and Liam Kerr, they missed the last couple of weeks with COVID cases. And the beauty of this is now that, them lads are all back now. There's no distractions. They came on as subs on Sunday. I think it was documented on the Sunday game or whatever that the lads were out because of that reason. But it's great to have them lads back now. There's no distractions, and touch wood, fingers crossed, everybody comes through this week with no distractions, no COVID, no nonsense, and we get a full run on Sunday. And listen, the athletic grounds Down have good memories there. They beat Monaghan in an Ulster semi-final there twice. They came back from the dead in 2012, beat Monaghan. In 2017, they turned Monaghan over there as well. They beat Norman a number of National League games there. The athletic grounds harbours good memories for that Down team, and a lot of those lads like Mooney and guys like that were involved in those games. So that might be a wee little bit of an edge for us too as well.